What is going on, Lake Pro Tackle fam? Today's video, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest mistakes you can do when starting out with your bait caster, which is spooling it up. There is a right and wrong way to spool your line on. Before we hop into the video, though, we do have 20% off fishing line, fluorocarbon, monofilament, braided line, bulk spools, everything like that. Currently 20% off online at lakeprotackle.com. Make sure to stock up before the spring really hits hard. It's already hitting pretty good here in Texas, but I know y'all northern guys are going to be getting some really good fishing here very shortly. So make sure to stock up on your line right now, lakeprotackle.com. 20% off again, y'all. Let's go ahead and hop into this here. Spooling up a bait caster is the first step in really fishing your bait caster. It's hard to fish without fishing line, and today we're going to be talking about the correct way to do it. So I have some line right here with me. This is just a generic monofilament. It's a chartreuse, so you can hopefully see it in the video here. And this reel that I have is going to be a Baits OG round reel, and I upgraded the handle to a Gomexis here. So let's go ahead and hop into it. Starting off with your fishing line, of course, each fishing line is a little bit different. This one specifically, this video is made for bait casters and fluorocarbon or monofilament line. So a resin-based line is what we're working with right now. Now, a lot of the time when I see people starting off when they're spooling their reels, they are, let me go ahead and thread this through real quick. Of course, the normal threading method, we're just going to put it through the line guide here, and I'm going to be a little bit lazy. I typically always tie my line onto the spool, but with this case here, I'm just going to put it into the little hole provided from the baits reel. I'm going to hold tension just ever so slightly enough to where it starts going, and we're at the first step of spooling your fishing line. So kicking it off, I see a lot of people do this. They set their line down wherever they're at, whether if you're in the boat or on the bank or in your garage, in your room, wherever you're at, they'll lay it down like this, and they're just going to spool it on and let that line go over the top. And immediately you're going to notice right here, you see these coils going into your line. That is immediately what happens when you spool your line on like that. What this does is it creates wind knots, and it creates a really strong want from your line to not go out smoothly. And whenever you do that, you increase resistance, you increase the chances of your bird's nest, and you can really damage your fishing line, because the way a lot of these fishing lines are made is that they are made with a resin that is based off of a certain crystalline structure. When they extrude it, when the line or resin is heated up to a certain temperature, it is basically set into its crystalline structure. And when they spool it onto these big spools, whether it's a bulk spool like this or whether it's just a single spool like this, it is cooling in such a way to where it bonds into this rotational pattern here. I spooled it on, going top up, and it's going to be the same way going down, and it actually created such a bad knot in there that I just had to bite it off. So let's go ahead and do this again, show you the correct method for spooling your reel. So I'm going to stick that line back in there, and typically, again, I always tie a knot, but for the sake of this video, I'm not going to tie a knot. So there we go. I've got tension now, and I can pull on this all I want. Now, back to the way the line goes onto your reel here. Now, you can see on the spool, this is the correct way of doing it. You want to make sure that your line on your spool is going over the top onto your spool, over the top like this, because if you imagine the spool as it spins, it's going to be pulling the line backwards as this one is going forwards. So it is really just doubling over this crystalline structure. And if you do it the opposite way, if you have it coming off the bottom, the line wants to naturally go up this way when you're spooling it on this way. So clockwise, counterclockwise, this is the correct way to spool on your line, whether it's monofilament or fluorocarbon. Now with braided line, you have a little bit of grace when it comes to bait casters because the braided fishing line doesn't have that crystalline structure. When it comes to spinning reels, however, with that thinner braid and line twist, there is a correct way to do that, and we'll film that in another video. But for those of you who are spooling up a bait caster or a round reel, make sure you're spooling on your line like this over the top of the spool, and it definitely helps if you're going through the first guide of your rod. And, you know, if you are spooling with a smaller spool like this and you already have your reel on the rod, you can actually hold it, go through the first guide on your rod, and you're going to hold it basically the same exact way. But when you're holding it, it's going to seem like it goes under. You just want to make sure that crystalline structure of this line doesn't change and goes on clockwise to clockwise as well. So guys, I hope this video helped you. I know it's a little bit shorter one. We've got a lot of stuff going on right here. We got a Picasso restock, of course, selling a bunch of fishing line currently. So make sure to head over to lakeprotackle.com. Check it all out, and you might find something else you need. We've got free shipping on all orders over $50. So make sure to check it all out, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time at Lake Pro Tackle. See you guys.